Hey guys, welcome to the Color Me Mike podcast. So just a quick disclaimer up here at the top. Anything said during this podcast only reflects on me and or the guest. Sonity has nothing to do at all with anything that's being said here. Sonity is just a cool boba milk tea shop in Fremont, California that is kind enough to let us record the podcast here at their shop and kind enough to hook us up with some boba milk tea drinks. So everybody just chill and enjoy the episode.
Fuck, I'm kidding. No, I'm used to it. Should I have done that? No.
No, honestly, that's just a syncing thing. So, to sync the audio with the video kind of thing. So you can probably put it a little bit closer to you.
Here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you just see a glow like that right on top of it. There you go. Just
like a drinking fountain.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was
everyone
thinking of. Yeah, drinking fountain. Yeah.
It's
This is exactly what came to mind. The funny is I used to do these and I used to have, because I used to only have one of these podcast microphones so far. I used to use this filmmaking mic, which is this long black, cylindrical thing. Yeah. So yeah, just get your mouth right up on that, in my old podcast. I'll tell my female guests.
Those are nice and soft too,
yeah,
right?
Open wide. It's like, that's natural to you, right? That's it, I guess. See, this is what happens, when you end up talking to someone before you start the podcast. It's like, oh, what the hell are we going to talk about now? But I can't help it, because it would feel weird to have you just standing there as I'm finishing the setup. And just not acknowledge your existence at all, right? And you just stand there in the corner.
I would have preferred that, though. So that's what you should.
Because there are definitely those comics where on stage they're the extrovert, but their real, personality is more of an introvert. Does that suit you?
Yeah, I mean that's probably me. I don't really. I like to be alone.
But yet, if I remember correctly, because we met at the best new pretty good comic competition, right? You're the one who started the conversation with me, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I try to. I think I'm good at talking to comics. It's just regular people. I don't know how to do that anymore. I think as soon as I started comedy, I forgot how to talk to regular people.
I'm just going to fix your mic stand.
Sick. It's broken.
No, it's not that it's broken, but that way I can see your face.
Okay.
There you go.
Good. Will this be cut?
Just like that. I don't believe in cutting.
Perfect.
There you go.
Look at him just adjusting it.
Yeah, you're like this. I'm shoving it towards your face. Open wide. Here comes the airplane. Now, that's one thing I've found too, because usually, I'm not really, as I've gotten older, like me making friends, I've kind of gotten, I wouldn't say worse, but I'm just a lot more picky and I don't really like to make the effort. If I see even one red flag or the vibe's not there, I just don't even try. But I've been surprised ever since I've got into comedy. It's been fairly easy talking to people because it's our tribe almost.
Right. Usually comics are willing to talk, and share their 2 years of open micing wisdom with you.
Well, there's a lot of comics that are not willing to talk. I don't know how it is in Southern California.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not in SoCal. I'm in
Well, you're all over the place. To be perfectly honest.
I'm based Central Coast because you can't say Central Cali or they think Bakersfield and Fresno.
Yeah, with San Luis Obispo, is that really considered central?
It's Central Coast. You got to clarify the coast.
Yeah, it's pretty far down south for us, and it's not LA. That's for sure. Yeah, I guess I can't say SoCal.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not LA. I started in LA, which horrible place to start. We're not open yet.
Yeah, you officially work here now. You're sorry, ladies.
I thought because when I came in, the door was locked, and I was like, he's just gonna leave me out. So I would have preferred that too. Then you let him make me stand there in the cold, except for it's not cold out.
So I guess how far is San Luis Obispo here for people who don't know what SLO is?
It's about halfway between here and LA. On the coast, so it's
a nice spot.
From here, it's probably 2.5 hours at night when I usually drive when there's no traffic.
Oh yeah, I guess I could see why you would say Central Coast, and 2.5 hours is definitely not Southern California.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's definitely not Southern.
And this is because we're South Bay right now, right? That's what it felt like. Feels like South Bay.
This is more East Bay.
East Bay.
Actually, I know.
South of Berkeley.
Yeah. South of Berkeley is really more. It's still considered East Bay, but it's getting towards north.
North, okay.
Like north would really be San Francisco and
right
and up. So East Bay. And people are really. They kind of like how people are so loyal to their sports teams. People are so loyal to what side of the bay they're from. East Bay for life, South Bay for life. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, it's all the same to me. I mean, I say I'm going to the Bay Area, and
you're
people
gonna get stabbed.
Where?
You're gonna get stabbed with that statement. It's all the same to you. It's definitely not all the same. I mean, a lot of people. Basically, everyone loves to hate on San Francisco,
right?
As long as you're not in San Francisco.
No.
I honestly, I've never been a big fan of San Francisco personally. I mean, I feel like it's dirty as hell.
It is dirty. I mean, it's cool in its own way, but you're like,
no.
I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah, I think it's just overrated as a city. If you have ever done any traveling and been to New York, or have you been to Chicago, been to Singapore, been to Vancouver, like any other city?
I've been to the domestic ones.
Yeah. And then you go to San Francisco, it's like, it's really not all that at all.
It's not, and it's too hip.
It wasn't always like that. That's the thing.
Right.
You know, it's because I remember going there like 1999, early. Like late 90s, and it wasn't that way. It wasn't. Yeah, I know. I'm 41, dude. I don't know if I told you that.
I thought you were like mid 30s.
Yeah, I gotta say, I remember going there as a 2-year-old. I'm not doing my math right. I would be like 20 something. But yeah, I remember going there. I was 18, 19, and it wasn't as hipster. You know, it was a very international place. You could tell people like are from Europe or from different countries, and everyone's like really dressed up. It's like, wow, this feels like a city. Everyone's so adult. And now it definitely doesn't feel that way at all anymore.
It feels mostly like, honestly, I feel less safe there than I do in most other big cities.
That's valid. Like that's very valid.
New York, Chicago, LA. I'm usually okay walking around late at night in there. I'm like,
yeah, you know, my wife and I spent a week in New York, and we were taking the subway at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Yeah, felt perfectly safe. But if doing that on BART in San Francisco, it feels super sketchy.
Have you done comedy in New York yet?
No, I wasn't doing comedy yet at that. Okay. Have you?
It was around when I first started. I was there like 2 nights with my family, dropping my brother off at college, and I did 2 open mics.
How was it?
It's pretty similar to LA, except for it's like more intense. But in a way, it's more respectful, because in LA, right, when you're waiting because in LA and New York, right, a lot of the mics are pay to play. You know, like you pay $5.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, which sucks, especially, you know, once you're in SLO, where like all the mics have real people at them, because you're paying to do $5 for 10 comics. Yeah, no one else. But so like they're all pay to play, which whatever. I was used to that because I started in LA, and I think at the time I might have still been. No, I'd left LA at that point, but pay to play. But it is more respectful, because during LA, right, all the comics will be writing material while you're up there. And in New York, I started to do that, and I got yelled at by the person running the room. Good. Which, you know,
they should do that.
They should do that, yeah. And I'd say the first mic I did was quite good. Don't remember where that one was. The second one was not, and at the time I wasn't 21 yet. So, and I know I wasn't allowed to be in there. And I just was like making sure no one asked.
Yeah, I mean, you're young looking, but I mean, I can imagine this is 2 years ago, so you looked even younger 2-3 years ago.
I really looked like a kid 2 years ago. Like, and that's
because you could pass for 19 now, honestly.
I could pass for 13 now.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You're a pretty giant 13-year-old with the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah,
you've been held back a few years.
I didn't shave this morning. I do have to shave.
Really?
To look young.
Yeah. See, guess how long ago I shaved?
2 years.
Close, pretty close. That's a good guess. I know that's the thing is like they say it's really more of a curse, right? The whole shaving thing,
Right.
Like what is it? Like by the end of the day, if you don't shave, what is it gonna look like?
I mean, slightly more than this.
Don't worry, that's the owner.
That's the
trying to
other
get
guy,
it.
yeah.
He's got the keys. Yeah.
I mean, it's not super big deal. I usually shave every other day. I shaved yesterday at like 6 before my 7 p.m. show, probably, and I didn't bring a razor on the strip, so I'll shave Monday when I get home.
So you can actually grow the genuine stubble all around.
I can, and when I always am pretty much clean shave or like this, which is almost nothing.
Why don't you want to grow the stubble? That's such a cool look.
It doesn't. Well, I'll let the stubble sometimes grow out, but I feel like a lot of my material revolves around being babyface, so I always try to shave before shows. The stubble does look okay. Like I'm good with the stubble, but when I try to grow out, like I have grown out a real beard before, and it does grow out, but it doesn't look great. You know, I mean, it looks okay, but it's not a winning look.
I don't know how many beards out there really look all that great to begin with when it's fully grown out.
I kind of agree.
Yeah, you kind of look like a mountain man or a prospector,
right?
You know, or Rasputin or some sort of warlock.
Or Duck Dynasty, who knows?
Yeah, no, there's a local comic here. I'm not going to name him, but he's got the full-grown beard, and then he always has a hoodie on that he never takes off. So every time I look at him, he looks like a warlock or a lizard. Yeah, so he's a funny guy though. Yeah, I like him. He's actually a really nice guy. But obviously, I'm not gonna. Is that
you just think he's ugly as shit?
Yeah, I know. That's sort of a dig at him, right? That's sort of a dig at him. So I'm not gonna name him, but he's a really nice guy. In San Luis Obispo, how much of a comedy community is?
I mean, there's some, you know. There's probably at least 2 monthly shows running every week, like book shows.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then there's, like, I run a mic every Tuesday, and then there's another mic after mine every Tuesday, and then there's a mic after, there's a show every Wednesday that there's a mic after, but this is all in the county, so you have to drive like 30 miles north or south for stuff. Okay. But
you generally see all the same faces.
Yeah, we only have like 20, 25 comics, maybe something around that. Maybe a few more than that. You know, we've got a good number of like just hobbyists, too, I guess. Or
how do you feel about that? Do you think that's a good environment to really grow as a comic, you know, in a smaller community, like where you can really get up?
Yeah, like I got opportunities in front of like real crowds really early because I go to college there. That's why I live there, and
okay.
The reason why I didn't start there is because after my freshman year of college, I went to LA for an internship, and that's where I started doing comedy. I'd done one mic in SLO before that, and then I went back to SLO at the end of that summer, and I went from like no one giving a shit to me about me, you know, in LA, which is how LA is. You have to be very good to get anywhere in LA, to like getting booked immediately, which, you know.
Well, how's it going? How's it going now? You're starting to...
Yeah, I do, you know, all the shows as much as I can, and, you know, I help run some, and sometimes I run some.
Is that a good way to get in, to help runs?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even really need to do that there.
Yeah.
I think, I know in LA I've been on these shows in LA where you'll show up and it's like, there'll be like one person who's like in charge and they're like the host of the show, and then they'll have like 5 goons who like follow them around and are helping them out with stuff, and you'll see one of them get to go up that night, and you're like, okay, so every week one of them gets to go up, and you'll talk to them and they're all like really nice, and they'll be like, yeah, you know, I've only been doing comedy 6 months, and I guess this is what I should have been doing when I lived there, but I've only been doing comedy 6 months, you know, like, I help out here so I get like good stage time. I'm like, okay, like that's kind of the system, but like they're doing it for free, you know, and they're not getting anything. And then
I'd almost rather pay $5, honestly.
Right.
Like your time's way more valuable.
Right. Well, you don't have to pay $5 for those at least.
I know, but I would rather pay $5 honestly. Have the rest of the day for my own.
However, they usually have a real crowd there, and when you pay $5, you're performing for.
So they get to perform in front of a crowd. Yeah, that's a huge difference then.
At least the ones I've seen, and in LA, a real crowd. Like the shows in SLO, sometimes we'll have like 80, 90 people.
I know, you were telling me about that at the competition. My eyes grew big. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, like the shows I run usually have pull that easily.
Do you do anything to draw those people in, or that's just the nature of being a college town? People are looking to do things.
I would say like it's weird, but like college students are not the people who come out to shows really that much.
Who's coming out?
A lot of like retirees or like couples just looking for something to do some night, or a lot of younger couples or younger people with their groups of friends, but it's usually people who've left college. I don't know, I feel like people in college aren't like ready for stand-up. Now I do also run I used to run, now I kind of run the Cal Poly Comedy Club. I handed it off to a friend finally. Okay. But we do an open mic on campus, and college students will come to that. But other than that, it's all kind of like college students don't find things funny yet. They haven't been hit by the real world. You need to and I think the only reason I find things funny is because to do comedy, I have really slummed it.
You have. I mean, that's putting it lightly. We'll get into that, but yeah.
Like I have lived all of the worst places you can think of. I for a while was living one summer I lived in Denver I had 7 roommates, and I shared the basement hallway, and I lived on the floor of the basement hallway with another friend.
On a mattress, right?
On a mattress. We had separate mattresses, which was nice.
To make it clear for people, he was doing this because he was trying to hit the Denver comedy scene, and show his face to make connections and all that.
Yeah, it was a house of comics. But it was also during COVID, so there wasn't that much going on anyway. It was more just a way to avoid living at home. Yeah. And I'm from middle of nowhere, Colorado.
How safe did that feel?
I mean, I trusted all the people who lived there. Yeah. It was a kind of a weird neighborhood. My friend Eric, who shared the hallway with me, his car I guess he left it unlocked. I think he left his car unlocked. Someone broke into it, and they shoved a screwdriver in the ignition. Mm-hmm. And then they couldn't get it to run. So they just broke his ignition with a screwdriver. That's all that happened. So you had to replace it. But that was the only and that was right outside our house. Uh-huh. And that was the only rough thing that really happened there. Other than that, it was pretty okay. I never met the neighbors. I think our house was the sketchiest one in the neighborhood. There was a window broken because one of my roommates, before I moved in, got really drunk one night, and there's a video of him Hulk smashing the window.
This thing is because I listen to a lot of podcasts by Joe Rogan, Greg Fitzsimmons, and they all tell stories like that when they're starting up. That's what they had to do in order.
Exactly.
So that's why I really feel like it's definitely going to happen for you because you're really doing what it takes.
And to be fair, I should clarify, I was paying $30 a month in rent. There was a reason I was living there.
No, I mean, but you have the actual chutzpah to bring out my Yiddish side, to actually go out there and travel and do the mics at other places in order to make those connections, and because I think that's probably what separates, I'm basing this off of my 5 months of experience. But, but I'm also basing this off of my 10 years of experience as a filmmaker, videographer. Right. That's probably what separates those who stay at the local level versus those who get on a national level, is you have to go out into these different markets and
you have to get
show your face. Yeah, exactly.
When COVID first hit, I was going anywhere where I could perform. I went to Denver because they had some stuff there. They had some outdoor mics and maybe 1 or 2 shows that I got on and stuff like that. They didn't have a lot. I went to Salt Lake City And because I had family there who I could stay with. And at the time, they only had one mic a week, which was at Wise Guys Comedy Club. That's like the best mic in the
it's
country.
at a comedy club.
Well, yeah, that's a mic that will have 200 people at it.
Oh, really?
It's definitely like...
It's basically a show at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you only get... It's a show where you get 3 minutes.
Still, 3 minutes in front of 200 people versus 5 minutes in front of 20 comics. I'll take that 3 minutes any day of the week.
Now during COVID, there were probably like 50 people there
Even
each week.
50.
But it was still
50.
very good, and then that was my tape for a while. But yeah, like that was the best. That's probably the best mic in the country as far as I know. It might be better. I've gone back to Salt Lake, but I made connections by doing that. And Kansas City. I went to Kansas City for a week with a friend. Just did open mics for a week, but like you get the ins there doing that. And now when I want to go back to Kansas City, I have people to hit up for like real spots.
Yeah, what was the response, when this out-of-towner comes in and all of a sudden is doing these mics?
I mean, I went with a friend of mine who actually started comedy up here, but way before you started. But Sean Riley and I, we went up there together, and I don't know, we just kind of became friends with all the like people up there and made inroads. I would say one thing about that scene is it might have the worst male to female ratio of anywhere I've ever seen. But
I mean, it's pretty bad in general anyway.
It's pretty bad. It's better in LA.
Oh, yeah?
And it's better. It's pretty okay. And I mean, to be fair, it's bad everywhere. Even the places I'm saying it's better. But Denver was okay. And I've done the Berlin, Germany scene for... That's another place I went during COVID because I have German citizenship, so I jumped over there.
Oh, that's right.
It's pretty okay there.
All English shows.
All English shows. It's super international city. So I think the English scene is just as big as the German comedy scene there. I mean, it's a city where like half the people don't speak German. I mean, I speak German, but I had better German than most of the comics.
Oh, wow.
Because they were all from everywhere,
Man, where does this... I mean, it takes balls, to go out and, just for mics, like, they go all over the place. Where does this drive come from, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have the drive to drive for mics anymore. But I don't have to drive for mics anymore. I can drive for shitty bar shows for 20 people now. It's one step up. Yeah. I mean... Before COVID, I wouldn't really do that either because I felt like it was getting enough. I would drive to LA every now and then and get like 5 mics in a night because you can do that in LA. And I'd still there are still times where I've been meaning to start doing that again every once in a while because it's just when you're in SLO, you can't get that many reps. Even if you're going to every mic, which is like 4 a week, and you're getting booked as much as possible, you're still not getting enough time.
How many reps? I mean, how many times do you want to go up in a week for you? That's ideal.
I mean, ideal, I'd be going up like 15, 20 times a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But I when I first lived in LA, I was able to do that. I think I lived in Denver the summer before COVID hit too. I lived in a slightly less shitty place than the place I described that summer. I could hit probably like 12 to 13 a week there or something like that.
Yeah, that's even 12 to 13. I mean, that blows my mind away. Like here in the Bay Area.
Berlin, I could do that many too.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, for me here, we're talking anywhere between 6 to 9, depending if I'm doing shows that week. Because, I'm not really at the point where I'm getting booked all the time. I'm only 5 months in, so it's like mostly mics. But even then, it's a stretch. It's hard to do here, man. So that was blowing my mind away because if you just think about it, if someone like you was able to get even like let's just say 12 sets a week, whether they're open mics or shows, versus someone who's only able to get 6. So if they're going side by side parallel after 6 months, man, the number of reps you get,
definitely.
So you feel like your growth would just be that much more.
And it kind of is, but also the same thing is there's also like quality of where you're doing because the thing with LA is it's hard to build material at those mics because especially when I first started, right? Like I was getting no laughs. But so was everyone else in the mic. No one in the mic was getting laughs. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just as good as all these people. And I wasn't, you know what I mean? But the reaction was the same because it's just comics, writing on their notepads.
It's like, horrible. I did one mic in LA. I was in town for a wedding.
Oh, where'd you go?
Flashback mic.
I've never been there, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I looked at their Instagram, and it looked pretty cool. It looked like they actually had had actual audience members in there and everything. And then when I went, it was just maybe 7 comics. And the host was great. He was really cordial. He was really funny. He was really on top of hosting.
Right.
And I went up, and didn't really get anything. But that's what I expect from mics to begin with. I don't expect to be killing at mics. But it seemed like no one was hardly paying any attention. And then the mic that went up after me, I found out the night before is when 4 comics had overdosed on cocaine laced with fentanyl.
I remember hearing about that.
And they knew those comics. And so comic after comic after me, they were basically just giving a eulogy for this. It's like I walked into a funeral basically. Here I am trying to work on my tight 5, and they're having a funeral for their buddies.
My dick jokes.
Yeah, exactly. And then one comic finally acknowledges, I feel bad for this guy. He didn't know what the hell he was walking into here. And,
right. Yeah. Coincidentally, I did the same thing, but I was just at a real funeral.
Oh really?
Yeah, this is my grandmother. I just went up and I was like,
I just started doing material.
Conveniently for them, all of my grandparents died before I started stand-up. So
we started doing crowd work at the funeral. Do you do
dating?
Yeah. Do you do much crowd work?
You were.
No. Did you do crowd work?
I can. I don't like it when my sets turn into all crowd work.
Why is that?
Because then I'm not really improving. I'm just.
You're improving on crowd work.
I'm improving on crowd work, but and I also have nights where I kind of miss the mark on crowd work, but I think everyone who does crowd work
it's not 100% guaranteed.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed, but I developed crowd work because there used to be, maybe it still exists, there used to be this awful open mic about 20 miles south of SLO at this super divey bar, and you could not do material there. So I would just go up, and the guy who ran it was kind of weird. So most comics would not even go to this mic. So there were 3 of us who would ever go to this mic. So I could go up and do 15, 20 minutes and just screw around, and I would do all crowd work for
15, 20 minutes of crowd work.
And that's all I would do. That's all I would do. And if I was doing well, I would break into material around minute 10 to 12. But and I would do pretty well there, and I had some good sets there, but I just feel like it's hack or something. I don't know, at least the way I was doing it. I think there are people who are really, really good crowd work comedians, and I'm decent, but I don't want to be a real crowd work comedian.
I just feel like it's good to be able to do it. It's definitely something you should have up your sleeve. I feel like you need to be able to do it all depending on the situation, And
I think in the last 2 years, every time I've been heckled, I don't think I've had a night where I haven't responded well.
Yeah.
I think I've always just had something. Yeah. Or just thought, usually I just think of something, up my sleeve. So that's really the only reason, I developed crowd work, because it gets your brain quick.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I feel like it kind of the fast twitch comedy muscle. It really develops that.
Have you done it at all? No.
I usually start out all my sets either with riffing on something or crowd work or a combination. I just for me, I just found it gets the audience loose, gets me loose, and gets them on my side right away, assuming it goes well. If it doesn't go well, it's maybe. But I don't know. I just kind of like. Like I said, I just like being able to think quickly on my feet, and I feel like it shows the audience okay, we're in good hands. This guy knows what he's doing, and then the material just goes way better usually. So I try not to go right into material, but honestly, a part of that is because a lot of I wouldn't say a lot of, but there are definitely mics I do where the bar crowd is just so rowdy. Doing material is pointless, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's those mics where I just end up doing crowd work. And Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
I feel like I should figure out how to do material well enough where these people would give a shit. You know?
I don't know if there. I mean, do you think there's a way to?
I've seen it done.
Really, they don't do any crowd work. They go into super rowdy.
I mean, they might do like one line, but then they, you know, I mean, and I'll
even
do
just
that.
like one line. You know,
I mean, I'll do one line. And there's no big deal doing that, but like, I don't know. A lot of the mics I see, everyone bombs, and then like, you'll see the one person who's really good, and they'll manage to do material, and they'll like still, or that someone will do well doing crowd work, but they'll manage to do material, and you're like, damn, that's where I want to be.
Yeah, you know what? With that competition that we did, that was kind of like an eye opener for me, kind of a turning point, because you know there was Hannah Gatsby and her lesbian army. You know, she bought basically half the crowd with her.
Right.
Yeah, and
that's how all competitions are. You can't like.
So they weren't really fucking with my. So like I knew like a minute in, I was like, okay, this is not gonna be my night. They don't want to fuck with my material at all. But there were a few comics that were able to get over that hurdle. So like the guy who won, Sergio Blanco, like his material.
Well, he brought a ton of people too, though.
Not nearly as much as her, though. I mean, he still got enough laughs to win. You know, she brought basically half the audience with her.
Right.
And Kelly Evans, who got third, you know, he was still able. So it's like, there's a way to craft material that will still hit even in a situation like that.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think because I listened back to my set from that night, and I'm like, okay, I reworked my whole opener, and then had not done the reworked version for that night, and I screwed it up, and it kind of put me like I had a slow start, and then I kind of came through at the end. I was listening back to that, I was like, I shouldn't have done that, but you know, most of that set was pretty consistent laugh wise, just not the first minute. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like going to those competitions, it's never really a pure meritocracy, like you pointed out.
Right.
Well, I would say comedy and life in general is not a pure meritocracy.
No, and I've even done competitions that are judge based, and they haven't been pure. I did a competition once where judge based, and probably the worst person on the show was one of the winners. Now I was also one of the winners, but the worst person on the show was one of the winners, and everyone was like, "What the fuck happened?" And then we realized
the judge.
Her boyfriend was one of the judges.
Yeah.
I remember going. I mean, that's right.
I guess that's what I really appreciate about sports is that's probably the only place where it is a meritocracy. Like on the basketball court. Yeah, if you don't produce, it doesn't matter who you know. You're not going to get cut. I mean, same thing with football. Obviously, the sports that have judges, it's a different story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think I watch anything with judges.
You're not into figure skating? Are you kidding me?
Not a big figure skating guy. Funny story, though.
Oh, a funny figure skating story.
When I was a kid, my mom, who did not grow up figure skating anyway, became like a competitive amateur figure skater for like a year or two. Like, I guess it was kind of a midlife crisis, but she would drive to competitions. Oh, wow. She would drive to competitions around Colorado, because we're from Colorado, and she would compete against the like two other women who were having the same sort of midlife crisis.
Maybe it's a Colorado thing, you know. The lakes freeze up over there.
Well, like I played hockey as a little kid, and then my parents made me quit. And I picked it up again. I was 18, and so it was when I was playing hockey. So like I was at the ice rink a lot playing kids hockey, which is a normal thing.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of the figure skating midlife crisis.
Yeah, and like I had friends, like I have friends from middle and high school, right? Who like my friend Jada. We were talking recently, and she's like, yeah, like your mom would be at the same competitions I was, because she did figure skating as a kid, like growing up, and my mom would be one of the 3 people in the adult division, right? And everyone else would be between the ages of like 5 and 16 or whatever. You know,
it's amazing that they have an adult division. You know, you would think that doesn't even exist.
Like 3 people in it, and my mom says like the same 3 people everywhere.
And she finishes at the top 3 every time she medals.
She did. She was almost always third.
Yeah, I mean, adult figure skaters. like in the amateur levels, yeah, you don't really expect that. You know, that's really more like a teens kids game.
It's weird though, like adult sport. Do you like play beer league anything or?
No, I mean I'm at the point. You know, like I said, I'm 41 and my joints are all shot because you know I did a lot of basketball, a lot of martial arts training. So like I put a lot of wear and tear on my body. So yeah, my joints are all shot at this point.
I've had 3 knee surgeries.
Oh really? What happened to your knee?
I shredded my ACL twice.
Playing hockey?
No, soccer.
So you grew up as an athlete.
Yeah, no, I played soccer all the way through high school. Was looking to maybe play like D3 in college, but I tore my ACL.
Damn.
I play intramural now. You know,
what position do you play?
I was a center back.
Okay.
So,
not that I know what that is.
That's the guy in the very back in front of the goalie. Like,
okay. So you're more defense. Then.
Yeah, like that's the central defender.
Okay.
Another name for
it. So you
it.
must have had like really well carved out calves. That's like what they say about
I still do,
soccer players. You still do. Huh?
I mean, I run up I don't consider them mountains, but people in the area consider them mountains. I grew up in Colorado around real mountains, but I run up the little mountains in slow 3 or 4 times a week.
So your knees are perfectly fine now?
My knees are pretty good. I have a little patella tendonitis here and there because they took out my patella tendon for one of my surgeries, but it's mostly fine. I wear a brace to play soccer, which I can get away with because I play in intramural. Yeah. Like it's pretty low level of competition. It's fun. It's
a great workout. It's like you said, it's fun.
It's fun. I get a run in. I've set it up so I play on like 2 teams and they play like on the same night. So I get 2 games in, I go home.
By the way, I think we can put our drink order in if you'd like to take a pause now. If you want that drink,
we can take a pause.
Yeah, let's pause real quick and get our order in.
Are we back
on anything? Yeah, we're back, folks. Now I'm gonna turn into an NPR show, and we are back.
Less sweet?
No, just less boba, please.
Less boba.
Yeah, for you guys. I don't know if you heard that was Vince, the co-owner here at Sonnet. He's kind enough to hook us up. I really am turning into an NPR host. Well, welcome to Fresh Air.
After this will be Prairie Home Companion to just put you asleep because that is their worst show.
Please don't tell me. So we both listened to NPR at one point.
Well, I like Wait, Don't Tell Me, This American Life, and that's about it.
Wait, Don't Tell Me. I like the format, but I just find it so hacky.
I mean, it's like dumb. It's a lot of puns, but like, you know, when I'm like on a long drive, I find that's a good thing that just kind of keeps me awake.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point because you do drive all over the place.
I drive so much because I have to drive to just get stage time because even if I'm doing as much as I can locally, it's still not enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we're going to jump back into the whole stand-up thing. I really respect that about you, that you go up and down California and you're doing shows. I know you're quote-unquote, in quotations, doing a tour right now, but what constitutes a legit tour? You're going all over the place doing stand-up. Is it not a tour?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like,
I know you're just not headlining.
I mean, I'm not headlining anything. I think I've headlined 1 show. I'm like the unofficial headliner at the Cal Poly Comedy Club open mic every week. Everyone else does 5. I get to go in last and do 15, you know, and that's just because I'm working out more material than the people. Because most of the comics at that mic are college students, and they just do that mic, and they don't do anything else.
So they're hobbyists.
Right, and they you know, it's like a fun thing to try in college, which is why I started doing stand-up. I tried a lot of fun things in college my freshman, sophomore years, and then I realized I needed to sober up.
So you grew up in Colorado, then you went to California for college. Is that what happened?
I went to Cal Poly for college. I came out fall of 2017, and now I'm on my 5th year because I'm really good at college.
Yeah, you're excelling, dude. You know, 4-year plan is overrated.
5.5 to 6, yeah.
So, but then you basically never looked back. You just stayed over here in California.
And I think I'm from 4 hours from Denver, and Denver's the closest place you could really do comedy to me.
Yeah, man, that's quite a drive for a mic.
Six for
even
Salt,
for a
6
show.
from Salt Lake. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm looking at maybe doing a little, because I got connections in Denver still, so I'm looking to maybe do a little, like, again, in quotes, tour. to Denver
It's a
over
tour, man.
spring break. I like how I have to line up my comedy trips.
But you know what? I mean, quite honestly, like, when people go on your Instagram profile, what's your Instagram profile, real quick?
At I'm not a Dave.
I'm not a Dave.
A Dave, yeah.
Okay.
I wish I'm not Dave was available.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's my Twitter too. Facebook, David Uhlfelder, daviduhlfelder.com once I get that running, which I don't.
You know what? I'm not a Dave reminds me of. I don't know if you've ever watched Kids in the Hall. You know of Kids in the Hall? You're a little young to know about them. Yeah, you might be too young
I've
to know
heard
Kids
of
in the
them,
Hall.
but I can't remember.
Yeah, a troupe of, comedy troupe of 5 Canadians. They do their like sketch comedy.
Yeah.
And one of the sketches they did was basically Bruce McCullough. He just wrote a song about all the people you know who are named Daves. These are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know. And it was really
That's
funny.
funny. I'll
They're
look that
really,
up.
I don't know how to describe them, but they influenced me a lot because I used to write sketches and one acts for theater,
Right.
and they influenced me a lot. Like the one thing they're really big on is playing female characters, but they don't do a voice like this. They just
Right.
they do their own voice, but it's just their mannerisms and
Right.
the affectations that make it like sound like a woman. They do it realistically, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I would recommend it. It's not everyone's cup of tea.
But yeah, I do think I've heard of it. Maybe I've seen a sketch or two. I don't remember.
Do you enjoy like shows like SNL?
Yeah, I mean SNL, it's hit or miss, but
Yeah.
I usually watch it. Not lie, like I'll watch it on Hulu or YouTube after it comes out. Not if I don't have time that week, I probably don't watch it, or I don't watch all of it. You know?
I mean, I would be hard pressed to find anyone who actually watches shows when they're on TV
I don't-
itself. I think. Do you think that's gonna be a thing of the past?
It's starting to feel like it. Like I watch sports live, but I don't know the last time I've watched a show live. Maybe, and I wasn't even that big a fan, but all of my roommates were into it, and we'd all watch together. Like the final season of Game of Thrones, which is something I watched kind of casually all the way through. Like a lot of people were really bummed out by the last season.
I don't know why.
I didn't care enough.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's like, were you not entertained? It's like I was entertained.
I was
It's like,
entertained enough, and I went, it was fine.
yeah, I like when people take it so personally how these stories work out, as if they're entitled to have it end the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, like everyone hates Star Wars. Well, no one hates Star Wars as much as Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the last 3. I thought they were entertaining.
I did. I liked the one that everyone. I liked 8. Like I liked 7. I liked 8.
8 is the one with Luke Skywalker came back.
We get right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people either really liked that one or really didn't. Right. That was a super controversial one, and I felt like 9 was such a response to that.
Yeah.
Was such a response to people freaking out over 8. 9 was like exactly what those people wanted, and they still hated it. And I'm like, I don't like 9. They should have just done what they wanted to do. They should have done this like fucking reactionary movie, because that's what it felt like.
I feel like that's just the nature when you give in to those who complain.
Right.
Those
You should
at the
never
Twitter.
give in to those
because
who
they'll
complain.
never be happy. Like Adele. Looks like Adele's gonna be canceled now.
What did Adele do?
She said that she loves being a woman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who
that's
cares?
it. Yeah. But she's gonna be canceled over that because
That's
I believe she said it at some sort of I don't know, gender neutral or one of those events or galas that are celebrating the 167 different genders
or whatever.
Yeah, and then she said she loves being a woman. It's like this is really what someone's gonna get canceled about now. And
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
saying that you love being one of 2 genders that makes up like 90% of the world's population.
I did a show in Santa Cruz a few weeks ago. I think it was the trip before I met you. It was the trip before that.
Blue Lagoon.
Blue Lagoon, and there's an open mic before the show, right? And on the open mic, some maybe they'd done 3 open mics or something, but they looked like a woman, so the host referred to them as a girl when she brought them up. I'm nailing the pronouns here. I don't think I've screwed up yet. Host was a she. And they freaked out about it on stage, and it was really weird to watch. But yeah, I think the correct way to respond to that is just to go, hey, actually I identify as they, and no one would think that's a big deal. It's the overreaction to it,
Yeah, I mean, my take on it is this, and maybe this is just partly because I'm 41.
Right.
It's just, if your world crumbles just because of your pronoun,
right,
is stated wrongly, you've got deeper issues than the pronoun. You got
right, yeah.
There's some deeper self-esteem issues if you're really pinning everything on whether someone calls you them, she's, or whatever.
And I have no problem with someone wanting to go by a certain pronoun. Just don't expect everyone to know that automatically. And if you want everyone to know, wear a name tag that says it. You know what I mean? I have no problem with someone correcting me. But
to me, it depends how they correct you.
I'll get over it.
Yeah, it depends
about it.
Yeah. I mean, where do you think this goes? Do you think this stuff dies down, or do you think it just gets more?
I think it will just get more and more.
Really?
Yeah, and I think also people will grow to hate it more and more on the other side. I don't know. That seems like where everything is going world-wise. You look even during the Bush era, politics were not nearly as split as they are now. I think it's just a similar thing to that. Everything is now, and I think it's mostly the internet's fault. Everything is so polarized. You can't be in the middle of
Did you
things
watch
anymore.
that documentary Social Dilemma on Netflix?
I've not seen that. No.
It's it's eye-opening. I think a great way they put it in a great way is what social media, Facebook in particular, what it's doing is that's, for instance, it's giving you a definition for a specific word.
Right.
But depending on your algorithm, another person could be seeing a completely different definition.
Yeah.
It's that's not good at all.
Well, yeah, and anyone can post whatever they want on Facebook, and Facebook's filters or whatever, they don't do anything.
The thing is, I don't mind anyone posting any, because that's with Joe Rogan's in big trouble now for so-called misinformation, right?
I've never been a big Joe Rogan. I've never listened to an episode of Joe Rogan.
I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan episodes because I go out and do Instacart and DoorDash. So that's what I like about doing those things is I just listen to podcasts
I
all
just
day.
think there are people who are a lot funnier than him.
Yeah. I listen to it because, one, he just has a variety of people who come on, and then since he's a comedian, there's always some entertainment value in it, even when it's a serious person. But the whole misinformation thing, this one thing is he's just a podcaster to begin with. I don't mind people, because for me, I'm a big freedom of speech guy. I don't mind people putting in wrong information on YouTube. If you're stupid enough to believe it, well, it's
the thing is, I spent a lot of my childhood at my grandparents' place, which is in the rednecky super part of Florida. So I've been around. Plus, I've spent time in Utah, and I'm not that far from where I grew up. Not that far from real rural Colorado, where there are also there are people who they don't have a lot, and it's mostly white, and they're kind of scared of stuff, the world hasn't really treated them right, and they listen to people who kind of preach fear and that sort of thing, and that's why it's dangerous to get out there, because if those people were just kind of exposed to now not completely left-wing super ideas but more moderate views, they would listen to them. It's the
but you hit on it, right? It's
right.
It's about being exposed to the other ideas. You don't solve it by stopping.
What Facebook has done is they've ended that. They're no longer exposed to that. They're only exposed to the far right.
Yeah, so I would say I think that's where probably Facebook is the most dangerous one out of everything. It's because of that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure Twitter's.
But you know, like what's going on
Yeah.
with YouTube, right? Where they're all of a sudden they've appointed themselves as the arbiter and judge of what is misinformation, and it's like that's where it gets dangerous because you know who are they to say what's misinformation? It's not. I mean, if you think about it. The White House press secretary, her whole job is misinformation, is to twist everything. You know, there's
yeah, but you know, there's meant to be some truth to it. Now,
I mean, I don't know about that, man. It's like things are like we're entering like it's good. I feel like it's just getting worse and worse, honestly, with like how far the lies are going.
Yeah,
everywhere. It's like we've entered a new.
It is.
And then a new world where like what truth is becomes so subjective now.
Well, yeah, and there is no middle, which I think has been my point. You can't. That's like every movie. It comes down to this. Every movie has to be either the best movie ever, or the worst movie ever. You can't be like, no, it was okay. Can't say that anymore. It has to be like, oh, did you like Spider-Man or whatever?
Did you watch Spider-Man?
I like the new Spider-Man.
I thought it was amazing.
That was very good.
I mean, like what they pulled off. I mean, if you haven't watched, well, you know what? It's still in the movie theater, so I'm not gonna say it. But it's like I think they pulled what they were able to pull off.
Yeah, no, I think they did it all very well, and it was tasteful.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like over the top. Like it wasn't like I didn't see it, but I've like watched clips of it and stuff. It wasn't like the new Space Jam or
the new Space Jam. I didn't even watch
or Ready Player One. Also haven't seen it, but they just shoved so many like nostalgia references into those movies that like
for Ready Player
that's
One,
all it is.
You know that's a book before a movie,
I know that's
right?
a book,
and all
but
that
the
nostalgia
book is
stuff
literally
is
the
in there.
same.
Yeah,
The book's
exactly.
the same.
Yeah, so it's already baked into the story.
I think I started to read the book in like middle school, and I went, "This is boring," because all it is it's like I got off the elevator and it was at level 42, which you know, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's 42, and then there was a 7 because there are 7 Harry Potter books or something like that. Like everything has to be a reference, and you're like, there's no story here. It's just a list of pop culture things. I can do that too, you know.
Well, I think that's where the movie might be superior to the book, and this is me saying I've never read the book because I feel like because there's just so much in screen and it happens so fast, it's not quite as heavy-handed.
It's the
because some of them will pass by real quick.
And the clips I've seen seemed
so
heavy.
you've never seen the movie though.
I haven't seen the whole movie.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't expect anything from it either. Though. I had no expectations. So
yeah,
I thought it was a really good story. Apparently, it's really different from the book. It had a surprising amount of heart to it.
Okay.
I would say that, and you know, I say this as a. Because, you know, a lot of people, like a lot of my filmmaker friends and videographers, like they go into movies, they can't turn that part of their brain off and they're constantly criticizing it. I'm really good at turning my brain off.
I'm good at that too, movies. You know, like all the MCU movies, you know, I'm not going to say they're all brilliant, but I've enjoyed them all. I don't think there's a one where I was like, oh man, that was awful.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, which ones have you really enjoyed?
My favorite are probably like the Guardians of the Galaxies, both of those, and
the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is phenomenal. I couldn't believe how good that was.
I feel like the first one's better, but I like both of them a lot.
What do you like better about the first one?
I just felt like it was funny or something. I don't know. Maybe it felt more original because it came before the second one, you know, and that's bound to happen. But I liked the second one too. I think all 3 Captain Americas are pretty good as far as like the more serious ones go. But yeah, you know, I like all of them. I wouldn't say there's one that I'm like, oh, that was awful. But they are all kind of the same.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes and no, because I'm a big comic book guy.
Right. Is there anyone you really didn't like?
So like I see it's like I could see how like if you're not really into like comic books, like that's a valid observation.
Right.
To say that they're saying like
I've read 2 comic book runs, but it's nothing like I've read all of Invincible and all of The Boys, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's good guy versus bad guy.
Right.
There's going to be a failure. The good guy's going to have to overcome that. I mean, there are just certain formulas for stories in general, right? A hero's journey. I'm a really big fan of Captain America Winter Soldier. I thought that was phenomenal.
That probably is the best of Captain America. Yeah, like that is one of the top tier ones.
Yeah, I mean, not just stories, but I did a lot of knife fighting training when I was in the Philippines.
Yeah, the action
just like the hand-to-hand combat.
It's good.
It's just, it's top notch. And just, the story about between him and Winter Soldier, the whole thing about trying to basically rescue his friend's memory, and he refuses to fight him at the end. There's a lot going on there. I like that aspect of it. But yeah, the combat is just, the action's phenomenal. It's top-notch stuff, which is why I didn't really enjoy did you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series?
I did. Yeah, I thought it was fine.
It was okay, but I just feel like,
say that.
No, it's fine. You're allowed to say anything.
No. I have to say it's either the best or the worst.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was. No, I don't know. I don't know which side I'd go.
Yeah.
I would stick with fine.
Yeah, because I don't think Marvel does anything bad. Obviously, they do things that are better than some, but I don't think they do anything that's bad. But it's just, the way, I'm going to go on a real nerd rant right here, right now.
That's fine.
The way they use Winter Soldier in that series, and to be fair, in the Infinity War and Endgame, is they basically just turned him to a guy that shoots a gun. Where this guy's supposed to be one of the best hand-to-hand combatants. Like, if you remember Captain America Winter Soldier, they couldn't take him down. He was fighting Black Widow, Black Panther, Captain America. None of them could take him down in hand-to-hand combat, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you do the later movies, especially with this series, in the series, he's just such a basic fighter. He should be kicking everyone's ass in their super impressive manner, and he doesn't.
Baby hasn't recovered. Didn't he get injured at one point? I'm trying to remember.
His arm got ripped off. Yeah, blown off by
maybe as
Tony Stark. But then he got a new arm.
Maybe he stopped working out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because his whole thing is he's trying to repent for all his assassinations, right? So maybe he's trying not to
do that. He stopped working out. Watched 20 seasons of NCIS.
Yeah. He's trying to become a pacifist. That's what's going on. But so
he got really into soap operas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He got in touch with himself and found out what his love language was, and it's definitely not violence. It's not violence. It was quality time, and
he started spending his workout hours meditating.
But yeah, I mean that's those kind of things. Do you fuck with the DC movies at all?
I think I've seen all of them. I don't like them as much.
Yeah, they're not as good. They're not as good a job.
I thought Shazam was fun.
That was fun.
What else? I think there's first Wonder Woman, pretty good. Second one, not really.
Oh, the second one was garbage. I couldn't believe how bad that was.
What else have they even released? What was the last DC movie to come out?
I think
Zack Snyder's Justice League, the re-release.
That was actually good.
I fell asleep about an hour and a half in, and I have not seen the rest of it.
I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, but okay, so me and my girlfriend and my roommate at the time, we were like, okay, fine, we'll watch it. And then we didn't have HBO Max, so we pirated it. I'll admit to a crime here. We pirated it, and we didn't realize there were two versions. There's like a normal version and a one with a really weird color palette. And we watched the one with like the really great, like it's black and white, but not quite color palette. And we found that like painful on the eyes and like hard to watch. And we thought that was the only version. And so like later we found out, oh, there's like another version. We should have done that. But we'd just been so burnt by what we had watched that we're like, but is that the most recent DC movie? Come on, expert. I mean, there's the Batman.
No, you know what?
Isn't
I
that
think
coming out, like, next
Suicide
week?
Squad 2.
Oh, I enjoyed
that was good.
that. I've
that was
watched
really
that
good.
twice. I watched that again like a month ago.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, James Gunn is really just a genius." Like,
I've pretty much like. Did you watch the Peacemaker series? I just
I'm watching
finished
it
that.
now. It's fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It's like James Gunn is the man.
Yeah, no,
he's really great at these quirky ones. He's perfect for it.
And they're a lot of fun. I watched Suicide Squad for the Suicide Squad. The original Suicide Squad, not really a fan of, but
that's garbage. Yeah, it's so bad. It's like, how many times do they have to say that they're the bad guys in the movie? You know, it's like,
they're like
we're the bad
people,
guys.
right?
We're the bad guys. It's like,
they fight bubble people.
Yeah, it was,
and there's a big blue light. You gotta have your big blue light. Or beeb.
No, but do you ever watch Doom Patrol?
I started it. I liked it, but then like forgot about it, which happens to me with like almost every show.
There's just too many things to watch.
Yeah,
there's tons. Okay, let's bet here right now. The Black Adam movie with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Is it gonna be garbage? Is it gonna be good or just okay?
No, I have not seen the trailer because I don't watch trailers for things that I'll probably see. So I only.
But if you just had to guess, knowing that it's Dwayne Johnson.
No, it's Dwayne Johnson. I mean, he's charismatic. You know, you got to give him that. Not everything he does is great. Like, I'm sure I didn't see it again. I keep giving opinions on movies I haven't seen, but I'm sure Skyscraper wasn't the fucking work of art, or San Andreas. What else has he done? Seeing that one that was based off the video game with like the giant wolf and the giant.
Oh, Rampage. That was actually a lot of fun.
Okay, so
that
he
was
is
a fun
in that
movie.
one.
Yeah, that was a fun movie. Yeah.
I didn't watch that either, but I'm sure none of those were genius. I enjoyed the one he did with Ryan Reynolds on Netflix recently, like Red Notice. I think that was.
With Gal Gadot.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, again, I wouldn't say it's anything super special, but it was fun. So let me see. Black Adam. Do I think it will be good? This will be
will it be garbage? Will it be okay? Or will it be good?
I'm not allowed to say okay. This is the internet. So this is going online.
Yeah, will it be garbage or will it be awesome?
You know what? I'll take a swing. I'm gonna say it's gonna be best movie ever. Guys, I'm only allowed to say best or worst. It's gonna be the best movie ever made.
I'm gonna go the opposite direction.
You're gonna say it's gonna be the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, just because
you're not allowed to do halfway. You have to say worst.
I'm definitely gonna say worst. Because
thank you.
I did see the little bit of the trailer that they put out, and it's Dwayne Johnson just being Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, it helps if you remove the little lid thing there. Yeah, this guy was just trying to put a straw.
I don't drink things. I'm not used
at all
to
with straws.
Really at all. I don't drink alcohol really anymore. I don't, because I went through 2 years where I.
Well, that's what college is for. I mean, so there's a lot of fun things to experiment with.
Honestly, you know, a lot of people say COVID hit and they started drinking a ton, and that's kind of true. But then I stopped. It wasn't at first. When I was alone, because I lived alone for the first 3 months of the pandemic, and I didn't see anyone for months. And because I'm an introvert, that kind of worked for me. I didn't mind it.
Did you get to the point where you weren't speaking out loud and you forgot what your voice sounded like?
No, because I'm just someone who talks to themselves like a crazy.
Really? Out loud.
Out loud, for sure. I run a lot, and I know people think I'm such a fucking weirdo when they pass me, because like I'll be singing to myself or talking to myself out loud, or the worst thing is sometimes I'll listen to comedy when running. And I was coming down this mountain a few weeks ago, and 3 times in a row I laufed out loud right as someone passed me, and it looked like I was laughing in their faces, and I'm like, oh man, these people think I'm a fucking nutcase. Let's see how this tastes. I don't know what this is.
All right, you know what? These drinks came at the right time. We're at an hour. Now we'll wrap it up
this
here.
This is just a lemonade. Yeah,
sweet. Exactly. Yeah, so it's right up your alley.
It's right up my alley. I ordered the right thing for me.
There you go. To be fair, I did recommend it.
You did recommend it.
I know my drinks. So where can people find out about your stand-up dates? David Uhlfelder.
David Uhlfelder. That's spelled Uhlfelder. You can Google that. But also, I'm Not a Dave on Instagram and Twitter. David Uhlfelder on Facebook.
How do you spell that real quick for those people who are just listening and not watching?
Uhlfelder. And let's see what else. David Uhlfelder on YouTube, and then what's my one other thing? Oh yeah, I also if you're in the Central Coast area, I run SLO Comedy Underground. We're a stand-up show production company, or it's just me. I'm the whole company.
Is that the show or the mic or both?
It's both. We do a mic every Tuesday at Libertine Brewing there. We do shows first Wednesday of the month there and last Thursday of the month. So this coming Thursday at SLO Public Market. No one outside the 20-mile radius of SLO will ever go to anything of that related. But yeah, I post my dates and stuff on Instagram, and as soon as I finish it, I started it on Thursday. As soon as I finish it, davidwuhlfelder.com.
There you go, folks. You can find them all over the place online. I definitely want to make it down to SLO and do your room at some point, man.
I'll have you down at some point.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you invite yourself to shows, folks.
That's
right
how
there.
You get the butterfly.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, guys. So thanks for tuning into the podcast, and a big thanks again to the fine folks at Sonity for letting us record the podcast here and for hooking us up with their delicious boba milk tea drinks. My wife, Chris, and I review boba milk tea spots all over the Bay Area. Believe me when I say that Sonity is definitely one of the best boba milk tea shops around. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at SAN as in Nancy, and as in Nancy again, A19, that's sana.na19 on Instagram. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow/subscribe button and make sure to give us a 5-star rating to give us some algorithm love. Okay? Thanks for listening.